America, my name is Osei-Frimpong. I come to you live every Friday, and you're watching The Black Athenian. Today I'm going to talk about selling aspiration. What does it mean to sell aspiration as opposed to like something I can eat? Do you want to buy the aspiration? And I suggested this last week when I told the story about my friend who used to work for a venture capital firm. And he was talking about the time his company was thinking about buying Rosetta Stone. Rosetta Stone is the company that allows you that says, like, if you use our product, you'll be able to learn a language, right? And he was thinking about buying this company. And he asked the customer service people, he asked the executives over at Rosetta Stone, so what do you guys spend in customer service? This looks low. He's like, yeah, we don't really need customer service. We don't have to have it. And he was asking, why don't you have to have customer service? He's like, look, people buy the box. They don't even open the box. They just buy the box. And if they open the box, if it works, great, I guess. But if it doesn't work, they blame themselves. They don't blame us. They don't call us asking for their money back or saying the product is defective. No. They blame themselves. And so we spend all our resources in marketing, because what we do is we sell aspiration. We don't sell actually learning the language. We indulge and satisfy your urge that you aspire to. We validate your aspiration to learn a language. Now, Black people, we need assets and like houses and inheritances and supports for our kids. Not the aspiration to have those things, the actual things. But the aspiration business is actually a rather lucrative business when it comes to Black people, because a lot of people sell our aspirations. Because if you can manage the people's aspirations, you can manage what they're willing to fight for. So you can and what they feel entitled to do, right? And if you can get them blaming themselves, you've won, right? So think about what it means for Rosetta Stone. This is Rosetta Stone. Got nothing to do with Black people necessarily, but this is Rosetta Stone that admits that, like, no, we sell the aspiration to learn a language. We don't actually sell the language. So who else is selling aspiration? Well, I heard tell that Candace Owens. I don't know if you guys know who Candace Owens is. Candace Owens, very attractive sister. Huge on the all of the worst white people in my life love her. This is Candace Owens, right? So all of the worst white people in my life, like all of the people I went to high school with who were like white supremacists, like, well, what about Candace Owens? She's very smart, So these same people like Thomas Sowell So Candace Owens is floated the idea of running for president. And let me tell you, if Candace Owens runs for president, she doesn't win. She doesn't have to win. She will get dynastically rich. She will get dynastically rich just for running, because she is offering herself as the baseball bat for all of the worst white people in America to just bludgeon Black people with. and that's the fact, right? Because these people do not care about Black uplift. They care about the come up. And the white people who will pay for her, I mean, these people pay, thousands of dollars for vacations. You don't think they'll pay Candace Owens $1,000 just to have her like laugh at Black Democrats and Black working class people and just validate all of their concerns? She'll go there and tell them, well, the problem is Black fatherhood. And the problem is liberals. And the problem is she will tell them everything they want to hear, and she'll do it with like no pores and perfect teeth and her hair, right? Like so, and she'll do it, and she's very charming, and she can just point to democratic flecklessness with respect to black communities, then she'll be right there too, because the Democrats haven't done anything for black people. So they will pay to have her and just elevate her, and they will pay. Her grandkids will be millionaires if she runs for president. Not that she has to win. She just has to say what, like, she just has to run and say what they want her to say, which she will. And so it's just fascinating. And I say these are token wars because who do white liberals love for no apparent reason? This is great. This is a time, another, very attractive young woman, a poet, apparently. I don't have the greatest head for poetry. I didn't think it was particularly good. Like I said, I don't have the greatest head for poetry, but, I thought I liked good poetry. I thought this was kind of schlock, right? Like I know 12 hip hop artists who could have come up with better poetry than the schlock that, but she gets the cover of Time magazine and she gets an interview with Michelle Obama. These are all people who white people pay to not have to secure black people justice, assets, good jobs, and fair wages. Right? So the conservatives pay Candace Owens and the liberals pay Amanda Gorman and Michelle Obama. And honestly, this was Barack Obama's entire shtick. Elect me and nothing has to change except you get to feel good. And this is what he sold liberals. Elect me, nothing has to change, and you get to keep all of your things. You just have to pay me. And that was Barack Obama's whole shtick. I am not a fan of that shtick. I think he should have been about the people and not about his bank account, but he was very much about his bank account. And he told you he was about his bank account, and you didn't listen, or you didn't care, or you thought, well, I guess he gets to be about his bank account because white people are about their bank account. So it's not the same. No, we needed him for us. And so Barack Obama was like, I think he got his bag, and, these two women are getting their bag, all bought and paid for by people who would not donate to me, which is why, if you want me to keep doing what I'm doing, which I think it's very important what I'm doing, I think, I give a quality of cultural commentary that you don't hear every day, because like the liberals won't pay for me because they want Amanda Gorman, and the conservatives don't pay for me because they want Candace Owens. So I need you, the people. Go to my website, www.funkyacademic.com, and kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, because nobody is going to say that Amanda Gorman and Candace Owens and Barack Obama incite the same pleasures of cosplay or far racial justice as each other, right? Like Amanda Gorman's a liberal, the MSNBC version of Candace Owens. And Candace Owens is the Fox version of the Obamas. They both just tell what they both say, and will get fabulously rich saying what white people who do not care if your kid has the inadequate education or lead in their drinking water, or any of that, or that you have an inheritance, a house, or that you're secured justice, or that your grandkids will do better than you. All like the white people who don't care about any of that support the Obamas, Candace Owens, and Amanda Gorman. They don't support me, which is why you should. Because I care if you get secured a good job at a fair wage as a matter of right, because you can't be free in the United States. You can't be free in these United States unless you're secured a good job at a fair wage, and you can't have any sort of meaning and dignity in your life if that's all spent trying to not make white people nervous about you so that you can keep your good job at a fair wage. That's no way to live your life. That's no way to teach your kids to live their lives. So you should be able to live in dignity in a stable community without kissing white ass. And that's and for that to happen at the community level, you need to be able to just you need to call Candace Owens what she is, and you need to call Amanda Gorman, a so-so poet, what she is. And you need to call Michelle Obama and the Obamas, Barack and Michelle Obama, what they are, which is indifferent to you. They do not care. They think they're better than you. They think they deserve that much more than you, and they will treat you like it. You are just a troublesome Negro to them. There is no we in that we, right? So the token wars between the Obamas and Candace Owens, where if that's the arena in which we play, none of us win. None of us win. But they want that to be the battle. Just like MSNBC wants QAnon to be a thing. I do not care about QAnon. I do not care. You know what? I'm going to set I should hit the opening. I just got off. I started talking. I got heated. All right, let me get to the opening.
To the beat, y'all. Yeah. Sound good to me. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no future in your front. To the beat, y'all. Yeah. Sound good to me. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no future in your front. To the beat, y'all. Yeah. Sound good to me. Never change the ways for the world or the government. If I was the president, then I would state facts. You leave it up to me, I paint the White House black and ain't no future in your front.
And we are back. I know that looped a few times because I was actually getting a visual for an article I saw about, one of my new favorite dudes, because I actually think he might get it. Or this is how to be a rich black guy. How to be a rich black guy, putting on a clinic on how to be a rich black guy. Who do you think I'm going to tell? Who's actually doing rich black guy well? No, it's not LeBron. He's doing rich black guy so-so. I don't think LeBron's a bad guy. I just don't think he knows enough and is surrounded by the right kind of people. But it turns out that Ice Cube is doing rich black guy well. Ice Cube doesn't understand why the government can't print money to secure black people, to secure us racial justice for a debt owed. Because the only reason people think that, if we give black people money, won't that lead to hyperinflation? Or what happens? What happens to the dollar? Nothing happens to the dollar. What happens is we actually get to pay our cousins to actually come do the deferred maintenance on our houses. We get to actually pay taxes. We might actually be able to buy and produce more. We're fundamentally underproductive because we live in a capitalist system that denies us access to capital. So what happens if you secure black people assets is that the GDP goes up. We are productive in a way that America might not be ready for. We have ideas about things. Undercapitalized. I'm undercapitalized. What would I do with a marketing budget? Which is, once again, why you should go to www.thefunkyacademic.com and kick in $5, $15, or $50, so I can have a marketing budget. But more importantly, Ice Cube is actually doing rich black guy well because he's actually saying no, government, I can't do it out of my charity. I am a rich black guy, but I cannot do it out of my charity. We need the government to secure people, our communities, and pay us our dues in terms of assets and reparations so that we can actually be productive in America, as opposed to just the government acting as the pimp that sells our labor and our bodies to both the prison and Amazon, right? So Amazon we're the people in the fulfillment centers, breaking our backs. So in the warehouses. So what I'm trying to say to you is that there are ways to be wealthy and black and not be a token that's used by your benefactors. And I think Ice Cube is actually doing a pretty good job, right? Because right now, the thing about what you have to understand about the U.S. government is that it's been used as an organ of propaganda so that the poor and the working class don't demand of it a job and better working conditions, but the wealthy do demand of it like an infinite amount of cash. So they can't guarantee the poor a job, but they can guarantee like the wealthy entire companies. And de facto, since now the poor can't compete with entire companies, you end up having to work for the companies at the company's wages and working condition, right? So we have an industrial society, which is good. I like Amazon. I like industrial societies. That means I can click on things and you can click on things and you can see me and I can buy this microphone and I can eventually try to get, equipment that works almost all of the time. However, if we're going to have an industrial society, which we should, that means that individuals can't compete with entire industries, which means that they're going to end up working for those industries as those industries grow. And if they're still going to be free while being a worker, they can't be a slave. They have to be an employee with the right amount of bargaining power and wages and say in their working conditions, right? So it's okay to have an Amazon, but you can't pretend that black people, we can't like just kind of get our pennies together and compete with Jeff Bezos. No, that doesn't work like that. That's not how money moves in these United States. If you don't compete with Jeff Bezos, we'll end up working for Amazon. So either you give us lots of Amazon stock, or if we're going to be working in those fulfillment centers, you need to be paying us $22 an hour. Right? So, and like we need to have say in our working conditions. Organized say in our working conditions. Right? So it needs to be an above subsistence wage, above a living wage, because we're not in this life to live. We need to live well and live free. That means we need disposable income to, tithe and give to the funky academic and start little clubs of our own because we want to. So anybody talking about living wage, say $15 an hour. No, my people need 22. And if you give us $22 an hour, you're not going to get inflation. What you'll get is more productivity and a lot of deferred maintenance that's done in our communities because we don't have the money to both work our $7 an hour job and like keep up with, the house, right? So, or our $10 an hour job. So so as it stands, our savings rates, black savings rates are at most income levels, the same or better than our white counterparts. We save better. They don't have to save. They can call an uncle when things go bad. And they have different entitlements. So, but you can't make money saving in the United States. You make money by investing. And you need money to invest. Like you need money by, and so we need to be secured. If we're going to be politically free, we need to be economically secure. And the only way to be economically secure is to have something like a secure job or like lots of assets. And the secure job is, I think, the right of an American. Since it's not 1860 and we can't just give away the Indians' land. That's how Lincoln promised economic security to the people. He's just like, oh, Homestead Acts. Can't be free without economic security. Here, have some land. We're not giving away land anymore. So we need jobs. So you need something like a federal job guarantee, and it needs to be above subsistence wage because you can't compete with Amazon. As like an individual entrepreneur, you need to use the fact that they need workers and actually secure good working conditions. And if the government is securing the wealthy while still denying resources like jobs to the poor, if they're securing the business interests of the wealthy while denying the labor conditions of the poor, that means they're the sous chef or the pimp or whatever for the wealthy. They prepare workers to go work for people who really run the United States. And that's not appropriate. I do not want my government to pimp me out to Walmart at $10 an hour. That's not, and my whole people out to Walmart for $10, $11 an hour. And no saying their working conditions, which means they can call you and say like, the store's busy, so, you got about a half hour to get here. By the way, that is one of Walmart's things, apparently. They'll schedule you for all these times, and then they'll call you in when they need you. I don't know if that's not freedom. Whatever that is, that's not what a free society looks like. So the token wars, I think it's very important when don't let the liberals pick their tokens and set you against the conservatives' token blacks, because in that war, whoever wins this, it's not going to be us. It'll be them. It's not going to be us as a people. It's not going to be the people. Nobody here in this picture is going to die or live for the people. Do not confuse these women with Sister Soldier. I did see the Fred Hampton movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. You should go see it. I'm thinking about doing a whole show on it. First of all, I'm sure I'll think of other thoughts over the week. I'll do next week's show on it. I will say it is a movie about O'Neill, the snitch, which I think is appropriate, right? Because I think it's appropriate that the movie is about O'Neill, the snitch, because it shows a few things, right? We need a way to get into the world, and getting into and usually they take a character who doesn't really have anything in their mind in order to get through the world. But nobody's going to walk into that movie neutral about the Black Panthers. I mean, we forget that most black people are not particularly militant. They might be progressive, but they're also scared of white people. So they're not going to be particularly militant, and they're going to be a little bit scared, and that's where it is. And so they're going to be skeptical of organizations like the Black Panthers. And they've been groomed to be skeptical of organizations like the Black Panthers. So I think putting the audience, like having a snitch be the character through which we see the Black Panthers, is actually an appropriate cipher, because he has all of the same skepticism that most black people have about the Black Panthers, right? And also, I think the movie did gender particularly well, which means that it wasn't anti-black male, which is actually hard to do in Hollywood, to show like black masculine men, but not do it in a way that says, well, that we behave like white men. We don't. That's just not true. So like it actually had good gender relations of like, you know, black men being black men and black women being black women, and like us getting along in ways that you don't see in white America, because like we're not patriarchs. We're black men and women. There's a difference. I've done shows on this. Anyone who, so I appreciate that. I also appreciate, it was told from the point of view of a snitch, but a snitch who was ill prepared, who was just overwhelmed with white power, right? Which I think is appropriate, because, you know, we're groomed to be overwhelmed by white power. I mean, these people, it's like, I know you don't consider, Amanda Gorman and Candace Owens snitches, but like they're snitches. There's nothing, they have more in common with O'Neill than either of them have with Fred Hampton, right? So my bar for the movie was, is this the Malcolm X, the Spike Lee's Malcolm X of this generation? Is it actually going to like provide a quality of conversations and like enlightenment that Malcolm X did? Is it going to tell the truth about white people? And I think it good enough. You should go see it. I'll do the whole show about it next week, but go see Judas and the Black Messiah. And go see it with this in mind. Yeah. Go see it with this in mind. You'll learn a good sense, and it kind of human, and it contextualizes the struggle of the Black Panthers in a way I think that is absolutely appropriate. And no, it doesn't do justice to Fred Hampton, because Fred Hampton is like his own man. I mean, he had such a rich intellect and such a way about him, and it was so effective. And it really pits the Black Panthers against the police in a way that I think even Fred Hampton would have a problem with, because, you know, Hampton was trying to overthrow capitalism and secure like power for the people. And the police are like the apparatchiks, the guns and the boots of those who want to keep us slave. But the goal isn't to get rid of the police as much as the goal is to get rid of the system that's very comfortable with so many disposable people. That's us. So you empower the people, not by getting rid of the police. You empower the people by like securing them, dignity and a valued place in society that's secure without having to kiss any white ass. You're not having to kiss any police ass. You're not having to kiss any white boss's ass. And by the way I can do that is if you go to www.thefunkyacademic.com and kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month. And I can keep doing what I do in a way that will clarify the struggle. Because, I help you. I give you the arguments that then you go out and you tell other people. And we clarify the struggle, because the big war in America is the war on the black mind. And that's one thing you get from Hampton. And, Malcolm X too. He was actually trying to, you have to work on minds. How you work on minds, that's a puzzle. You don't necessarily do it through nonviolence either. But how you work, and that's why you need me, because if you don't need me, you'll get one of these people telling you about the black struggle. And nobody on either side of this picture is going to clarify the struggle for your kids. And it's going to confuse them. So, thank you for your time. Next week, I'll do the whole show on Judas and the Black Messiah. Go and see the movie. I woke up early this morning before the kids were awake and it was still dark outside because I wanted to see it. And we're going to do a whole show on it. You should see it too. That's your homework. All right, peace.